I wanted to make this video for two reasons. Firstly, just to share my experience, my personal experience of what it's like to live with bipolar disorder. Secondly, just to hopefully speak to somebody listening, and hopefully they can relate to the experience I had when I was younger, and hopefully make the connection that I made when I was 26, that their life experiences are abnormal and to not be afraid to seek help. Back when I was 26 years old, I came to the realization that something was different about me, that my lenses through life were much different than the lenses of those around me. And this realization was actually the beginning of my recovery because, as absurd as it sounds, prior to this, I thought that the way I was living my life was normal and that everyone around me was experiencing life like I was. Life, for the most part, in my early 20s was pretty good. I had a great job as a toolmaker and a side job as a prep cook at a restaurant. I was working 60 hours a week and had a great circle of friends that I would meet with and hang on the weekends at the clubs. My mental life, however, was very tumultuous. You see, at that age, mentally, I would go through several months of dark, depressive states where my life would slowly spiral downward in all areas of my life. I would go through what I call a destruction phase for about 4 to 6 months where my relationships would deteriorate. I got sloppy and lazy at work. I gained tremendous amount of weight, usually around 70 to 80 pounds, and I isolated myself from others. All motivation and my drive for life was completely depleted in me. After this 4 to 6 month low period, I will go into what I would call the comeback phase, where for the next 4 to 6 months, I will get uplifted by this euphoric energy that wanted to fix and perfect every area of my life. I would lose weight rapidly, be up at 4:30 a.m. daily, have extreme amounts of energy throughout the day, would set and write goals for work, for life, and for every area of my life. Life was in complete control and everything was perfect. In my mind, I believed that I was building my life and I was destined to be an important figure like the President of the United States or an inventor that would solve some major world calamity. I would listen to high energy techno music for hours each day and have very specific euphoric visions of myself solving world problems and becoming a genius. Music enhanced and brought out these euphoric thoughts and feelings. Each comeback phase was rebuilding and perfecting my life, and it was supposed to end all the crashes that I've had in the past. After about 4 to 6 months, I would hit my peak and I would crash uncontrollably back into a depressive state again and go back into a destructive phase. It left me confused, believing it was my fault or something that I neglected to do to keep this euphoric lifestyle continuing forever. These high and low phases of life, living 6 months with the light switch on brightly and the other 6 months with the light switch off, continued for over 10 years for me, and the peaks and the valleys would get more severe as time went on. The thing is, with bipolar, these highs and lows could last months, as it did in my case, or for some others, they could only last days. And this is called rapid cycling bipolar. I actually see myself as fortunate that I had high energy, ambition, and motivation for months rather than days. But unfortunately for me, the depressive states lasted for months rather than just days. So imagine if you had just built a home, and after building that home, a violent storm appeared and it ripped the siding off, smashed the windows, moved the house off its foundation, and rendered that house unlivable. Then after 6 months, the rebuilding effort took place and you built that house stronger than it was before. You removed the shingles and replaced it with a metal roof. You changed the siding to brick. You upgraded the flooring to hardwood floors and planned that the storm wouldn't come again. And then after you finished rebuilding, another storm appeared and destroyed your house, and the cycle continued. So this was my experience summed up with bipolar for many years, until my late 30s when it evolved into something much more dangerous, that I lost touch with reality for months at a time. Times where I lived through fantasies created by my mind and experienced voices in my head leading me to act and do certain things. In one particular instance, I thought that terrorists were supposed to detonate a bomb at my church, and I was supposed to go there and fight them before it happened. I'll make some more videos sharing these exact stories at a later time. The good news is that I started the recovery process at 26, and when I say started, I really just do mean start. You see, this is a process, and doctors aren't sure what medications or combinations of medications will work or not work on their patients. And I didn't realize this at all. I thought I just needed some antidepressants and everything would be solved. But I was wrong. It was a period of 15 years that I went through with trial and error with different medications to finally get the exact type of medications that I needed. But the good news is I reacted to some medications immediately that stabilized my mood and reduced or removed big bouts of crying and depression that I would go through in the downturn. I want to say one of the biggest problems that I had that lasted for many years after I started seeing a doctor was this core belief that I was supposed to do something magical, like cure cancer or become the president or something. It was this core belief that led me for years and years into depression, wondering why I wasn't realizing my true potential in life. It wasn't until I turned about 39 that when I started taking antipsychotics that the belief vaporize and I become much more stable mentally. See, bipolar does not only change your emotional state and energy levels, but it manipulates your belief system to where you're living with severely exaggerated expectations of yourself and your importance to the world. Over the years, I've tried several different medications as well as several types of antipsychotics. And you can ask, what's the difference between the two? I can't tell you medically, except I can say antipsychotics are given mostly to schizophrenics and to people with bipolar who have gone through psychosis. In some cases, bipolar can manifest itself into episodes of psychosis. I went through this for a short period of time in my late 30s. Psychosis is when you live in strange storylines that your mind constructs, believing you're receiving messages from everything around you, from the TV, from people's conversations around you, or from pictures and a fantasy story involves that you believe is real. One time I actually believed that there was a large amount of gold hidden in my attic, and I embarked on a weeks-long journey to find it. There was supposed to be a hidden treasure hidden in my attic for years, and I had specific instructions on how I was supposed to spend it when I found it. The one thing I will say about medications is this: a lot of people hate them. Even I, for the longest time, wanted nothing to do with them because my train of thought was simple. If I have to take this pill for the rest of my life, then the underlying problem is still there and hasn't been solved. My young, naive brain couldn't comprehend why this made sense. But today I appreciate them now more than ever, and I'm thankful that I have them. I've tried on several occasions to discontinue or even reduce the amount of medications I'm taking now, and I've had severe consequences because of it. Even though they aren't a cure and there are some side effects, they are allowing me to live a normal, stable, and mostly bipolar-free life today. So at my age, even though I have many challenges I struggle with today, I'm still trying to solve. I can say that mentally I'm at a decent place. I don't live in the destruction and comeback phases that I used to in my past, and I don't go through psychotic fantasizing episodes. I've been pretty stable for about 4 years. Now, ironically, there's actually a part of me that misses part of the bipolar episodes that I had. For years, you had this enormous motivating and energizing force in your life that will pull you out of dark times and make you feel confident and invincible, and it's just not there anymore. There is a part of me that wishes I still had that and it could help me with my personal problems and drive me to success today. So I must say, when you do get stable, there's a bit of a hangover from that. I would just say, though, that although it may take time to get this disorder under control and to a place mentally where you're stable, you can get to a happy place mentally. With trial and error and patience, you can get through this like I get through this and lead and live a normal life. I hope you found this video informative and my story can resonate with you in some way. Keep battling what you're battling and eventually you'll find something that will give you peace.